I want to talk to you a little bit about NASA. I don't know if you saw the splashdown yesterday. This happened last night. Do we have? Go ahead and roll this.
And we're going to stand by for splashdown located in the Gulf of America.
Yeah, but they're never in
off
space.
the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
That's a movie set.
It looks incredible. It looks like it could be the Truman Show.
It does.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
I don't know what's wrong with me lately. This is so weird. I don't know what's happening to me. But I see things like this, and I'm like getting weepy again all the time. You know, like I was back. Yeah. I'm getting weepy again. I see things like this, and it just moves me.
I feel the same way at Taco Bell.
Right?
Right?
Like, no, that's a movement.
Oh, okay.
It's different. Because that moves me too.
Yeah.
In a completely different way. But I just see things like that, and it's like so inspiring what we can do, and especially when you look at it, what we were doing. I mean, the moon shot. We decided to go to the moon. We decided that long ago, and it is the president's job to make sure that everything is moving in that direction. You don't want to go to the moon. You don't want to go to space. Then stop it. But if you're going to put people in space, you can't just leave them there.
No?
No.
No?
You know, the President Biden just left them there. And they're like, I don't want it to look bad for me. Maybe everybody will forget they're in space. Is that was the plan? And here's the big, huge government with the big, huge budgets from big, huge Boeing. They send and I said, don't send the rocket up. You remember? Don't send that rocket up. Don't do it. It's not going to work. You know, and if it does, good luck coming home in that thing. And then it docked, and they were like, we had some problems with it. And then it was saying to the astronauts, don't get back into that thing. There's no way you're returning to Earth in that. Don't do it. Well, they didn't. So, Biden just leaves them. And Elon Musk is like, I can go up and get them at any time. And President Biden says no, because he thinks it will look good for Biden. I mean, for Musk, not good for Biden. He's just like, leave him alone. This president, the reason why I think so many people had a problem with Joe Biden, even if they liked his policies, some of them, even if they say, well, he was a Democrat and I'm a Democrat. I think the reason why so many people, just jump ship on Biden was he violated something that is in all of us. And that's honor. The basic honor. I mean, not like, you know what? I'm a boy. I mean, just like the bare minimum honor of Americans. We don't leave people behind. He did it in Afghanistan, and then he did it in space. And when you see that, you're like, oh my gosh, that's not us. What is that? And I think that's why Biden rubbed so many Democrats the wrong way. They may not be able to vocalize it, but I think that's one of the reasons. He had no honor in him at all, I think.
Zero. And luckily the American people were able to suss that out a little bit. But I do relate to how you feel about watching something like that. It's so fascinating that the entire, or half the country has at least turned on Elon Musk, a guy who's doing all these incredible things.
He is. You know what it is? It's the same thing that happened to Nikola Tesla. Okay, the power structure turned on Nikola Tesla, the greatest mind of the 20th century. I mean, makes Edison look like a rookie. Makes him look like me. Okay, God. I mean, and the country turned on him because of the establishment. And we're doing the same thing with Elon Musk. What is wrong with us?
It's funny because you hear that thing that happened a lot around the election with Democrats complaining about why they lost. And they said, like, well, what we need is a left-wing Joe Rogan. And as many pointed out, you had one. His name was Joe Rogan. He was supporting Bernie freaking Sanders in 2016.
We need somebody like Elon Musk.
Right.
You had him. His name was Elon Musk.
You had a left-wing Elon Musk. And what was fascinating, Glenn, and this is something we can absolutely prove. I don't have to speculate on this. When he was left-wing Elon Musk, when he was a guy who was out there talking about how we were all going to die from climate change, which, by the way, he still believes.
Yeah.
We were still able to look on in amazement at the things he was achieving.
Yes.
Including Tesla in its very early stages, which we featured on the CNN headline news show a zillion years ago.
Right. We actually, at least conservative, let's just speak for us.
Yeah.
At least we, the whole time, are like, I don't believe in the climate change stuff. That's crazy. But look at what he's doing. Look at how he's doing. Look at how he is making all of this public. He's not trademarking or patenting anything. He's saying it should be open for everybody. Take my ideas and build on them. We loved that about him. You know how crazy it is? I still think there's a chance he turns into the Antichrist. So I'm like, I really like him. Might be the Antichrist. We should remain aware of that. But I like him. These guys treat him like the Antichrist, and they don't even believe in the Antichrist.
That's true.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's true.
It's nuts.
And it doesn't make any sense. And now they're going dealership to dealership and lighting his Tesla's on fire, right? That is economic domestic terrorism. That's what it is. And Pam Bondi, I'm glad to see. Yep.
Yeah, she called it out, and I'm glad. And I want to see these people prosecuted. That's economic terrorism, period. I don't like the mainstream media. You should arrest me if I ever just even say, we should all gather torches and we should burn those places to the ground. No, that's terrorism.
But it's also, the way the left acts every single time they don't get what they want.
Every time.
I might remind you of George Floyd.
Yeah.
When they were upset about George Floyd, what'd they do? Burn down cities.
Yeah.
What about Alf and Elf? Not Alf, the lovable, huggable alien creature I'm talking about
Alf and Elf. What did they do wrong? They're both.
Who
needs a hug?
Not Will Ferrell. Yeah. I'm talking about the Animal Liberation Front and the Environmental Liberation Front.
Horrible.
Terrorist organizations that went around and burned down, dealerships of SUVs because the environment's so important.
And by the way,
there's an interesting way to approach it.
Do you know why SUVs exist?
I do. Yes.
I was talking to a liberal friend, and
as close as you can be to a liberal friend, sure.
And they were like, these big SUVs. Mm-hmm. Do you know why SUVs exist? Because you didn't like station wagons. You didn't like big, huge sedans, and so you were like, the EPA, they should start regulating those things. And you put that regulation in. You know what wasn't covered? Trucks. And so they were like, we'll just build it on the platform of a truck and call it a SUV. That put the station wagons and the big sedans out, and now you have a bigger vehicle. That's how stupid you are. As somebody who believes in big government government cannot regulate everything. It only makes things worse.
Yeah, and we should also add in, when they did those fuel mileage standards, there's two ways to approach it, to hit the standards. One was to convert a bunch of bigger sedans and station wagons into SUVs. Yeah. So you had bigger vehicles on the road. The other way was to take your cars and to make them lighter and smaller. So when those two things collide, guess what happens to people?
Oh, I saw somebody.
It literally killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people in car accidents.
Who was it? Who was the politician that I saw yesterday? They got rid of their huge lefty, green thing, got rid of their Tesla and was proud to be driving like an excursion. I bought 2 of these things. I'm like, wow, that's good. That's good. By the way, before we move on, I've got to just go back to the space thing. Yeah. Because did you see what one of the astronauts did before they came back to Earth? Do we have this audio? Well, listen to this.
What is your life lesson or takeaway from these 9 months in space?
Well, in answer to your question, I can tell you honestly, my feeling on all of this goes back to my faith. It's bound in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, he is working out his plan and his purposes for his glory throughout all of humanity, and how that plays into our lives is significant and important. And however that plays out, and I am content because I understand that. I understand that he's at work in all things. Some things are for the good. Go to Hebrews chapter 11. Some things look to us to be not so good, but it's all working out for his good for those that will believe. And that's the answer. So thanks for asking.
So that's a scientist in space, and I didn't see that headline anywhere.
No.
And I just would like to say, I think that's what happens when you fly on a Boeing. You're like, all right, Jesus, you're there, right? I mean, I got to have some perspective. Okay, so if I burn up on re-entry, it's going to be good, right? I mean, that's what he was saying. Is like, you know what? My faith, it just tells me, Boeing could kill me, but I guess it's all going to work out to be the best. That's pretty much what he was saying there, I think.
That's true. I think, too, Glenn, as you tell me if this has happened with you, but as you get older, that sentiment becomes much, much more true.
Yes.
Perspective. Things seem so out of control sometimes, and then when you really put yourself in the mindset, which he was just describing, that it's like, yeah, you know what? It's not really in my hands, and things happen for these reasons that I believe in, and they're important, and I can't control all of them, and I'll do the best I can and get through all of this. It makes life a heck of a lot easier. I mean, just pragmatically, outside of the faith elements of it, it makes your life better. It just does, because you don't freak out about every little thing. I can't tell you how many times I sit there in church and they're talking about these important concepts, and thoughts enter your mind of like the chaos of the world, and when you think about it that way, you're just like, the chaos of the world. Who cares about the chaos of the world?
I care about it.
I care about it, but I care about it in a totally different way.
In a way that you're like, it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out.
It is. We talk about that phrase all the time. Yeah. It is so important,
but it's so hard to do. I have to tell you, my daughter, she just had her first real adult career decision to make. She's in this production, and she has been working on it for months and months and months with her cast. And she was also just cast in a movie, a Hallmark movie for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
And so they conflicted, and she didn't know how she was going to work this out. And so I'm going back to this place that I used to be in, which is a horrible place where I cannot sleep ever. So I was up at 2:00 in the morning, and she gets up to get a drink of water or something. And I said, "You okay, honey?" And she said, yeah. And she sat down, and we just started talking, and she said, "It's so hard, Dad. I mean, what is the right decision? How do I do this? And I don't want to do this because I'm letting some people down either way and everything." And man, it takes so much for a man, at least for me, just to shut up, because everything in me was like, well, here's what you do, honey. This is no big, right? And that's the worst thing you could. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just sitting there going, and all the time I'm thinking, you know what? And this is what I finally said after she talked, but it was like, just do the right thing. Just do the next right thing. Everything works out. But it's hard, especially when you're young, because you think, I have to micromanage. I have to make the right decision, because if I don't, it'll play out this way, it'll play out that way. And you don't know how it's going to play out. Just do the right thing. Whatever it is, just do the next right thing. And it will work out. And shockingly, not the way you intended, but better than what you thought could be your best outcome. And I just think that takes a lot of years of trying to force your way. I'm going to make sure it happens this way. And it always failing. I think it just takes a lot of time. I hope, if you happen to be listening and, you haven't gotten this yet, really trust Stu. Don't force your way. It just does. It doesn't work out. It's never a happy ending. Never a happy ending.
You can't control everything.
No.
Nor are you supposed to.
Right. You're supposed to surrender to the next right thing. Not to surrender to, he's the Antichrist, whatever. No, not surrender on those things. Surrender to the next right thing and let the consequences happen, because you'll find over time, oh my gosh, I can't believe how that worked out in my favor or in life's favor for me. And that's what the astronaut was saying.